The Prime Minister, of course, peak of his powers. Parliament has not even resumed yet. As much as those of us would love to get as far into the 3 years as possible, the reality is we are just in these early days. Hence why in part I was talking, just again for information, so everyone was across about how those preferences split up. Again, the Greens voter, the 12% of Greens voters who put the Coalition as their number 2. I want to meet you. I want to know how you get there, because I'm fascinated about how that works. But the Prime Minister has made a decision, which is to remove the standard amount of staffing that would be there for a federal opposition, and has removed a significant number of staff from the crossbench in the Senate. We're talking about, as James Ashby, when he was sitting in that seat, was saying, Joe, that despite the fact that One Nation has doubled the number of senators from 2 to 4, under these changes they will have exactly the same amount of staff as when they had just 2. Now, obviously, part of the reasons why the fluffing was there when it came to staffers in the last parliament was because, if we go into minority government, we're going to need these people. Let's not offend anyone. Now we're 94 seats and we'll rule forever. Right. So push them all out of the way.
Great,
but
isn't it?
I hate this because I want, sitting down everyone, I want the Teals, the Greens, One Nation, the Liberal Party and the Palmer United Party senator to have the maximum number of people that they're allowed to come up with alternative ideas to be able to challenge the government. Otherwise, we're going to end up where Victoria's been for a long time, Queensland's been for a long time, which is once you've got access to the full machine, it is just about robbing any political opponent of the ability to be able to oppose you.
Yeah, look, in principle, I would probably agree with you, but in
because
practice,
it's Albo, tell me why.
In practice, Albo punishing the Teals and making them cry is like my ultimate political spirit animal. Like this is what I was born to. This is what I was born to immerse myself in, and I absolutely love it because they're the biggest bunch of sooks in the world. They are so entitled. They're that rich they could hire staffers out of their own pocket instead of charging it to the taxpayer. They've still got for each MP still has 5 staff. They've got 4 for their electorate, and they've got 1 just for parliamentary business, and there's enough flexibility to wiggle those around. For example, Monique Ryan had Sally Rugg. Let's just never, ever forget that.
And never forget that Monique Ryan had said in that court case that she could be Prime Minister one day.
And she could be Prime Minister one day. Let's never forget that. And let's also never forget that Monique Ryan is a doctor.
Oh, correct.
Doctors deserve more staff than normal people. Just the Mr. and Mr.
Okay, you're winning me over.
You're winning me over. So again, anything the Teals whinge about, I am reflexively in favour of. But you do, look, you do want to have... given that they are so insufferably sanctimonious and self-entitled and think that they're right about everything, it'd be great if they got a bit of extra frank and fearless advice to tell them that they are not.
Correct. But
I don't think that.
But Lisa, I remember David Crucifulli told me that the entire staff of the Queensland opposition, when they were going up against that mega machine that was the Labor Party, with all of its staffing, who worked for the government, worked for the party, worked for the unions, was 20 people across the whole of the opposition. Now, how on goodness earth are you supposed to be across all of the issues and coming up with the alternative policies? It just, in my view, it should be as close to a level playing field as possible. Obviously, the people with the more seats are going to have more staff, no question, right? But the idea that the opposition, depending on the size of the opposition, will be robbed of the smart people to come up with the alternative ideas is bad for a democracy. Or am I just being a sook?
Well, it is bad for democracy, but if you're in government and you are in the position that Albanese is in, why would you give the others a helping hand? Why would you make it easy for them? And as far to Joe's point, the Teals were all about fiscal responsibility. Well, if Albanese is now having his own sort of Doge moment and going through and cleaning out the books and cutting staff, then the Teals are getting exactly what they want, aren't they? But I think what stinks about this is what Pauline Hanson pointed out. They should not have learnt about this through the media. I think that was... she described it, I think, as a dog act, and I think that is a really low point.